Hey, this week we're talking about the amazing exchange that God has done by sending Jesus. All the wrong God put on him who never did anything wrong so that we could be put in the right with God. That's a great exchange. We talked this week, if you saw the message, this weekend, we talked this week about radical service that comes when we are impacted by our relationship with Christ. I mean, the most natural thing in spirituality is when I accept who Jesus is, it changes who I am. Is it changing you? Do you sense that God's changing you? So I want to give you a little something today that if you wish it was changing you more, this is a path to get there. If you wish your faith, your belief in God was more impactful, it was change. You wish it was changing you more, I want to give you a path to get there. And actually, I stole this path from Mother Teresa. It's really great. And it really is what I've learned to practice before I ever heard this little statement by Mother Teresa. She says, the fruit of silence is prayer. The fruit of prayer is faith. The fruit of faith is love. The fruit of love is service. And the fruit of service is peace. Okay, so I want us to think about that a little bit. Silence really is this space and place that I recommend and we encourage in our whole strategy of, connecting with God daily and growing with others in community, that's being in a small group, and serving every person in a group and every group on mission, right? So as a church, our whole strategy is what we do. That's all we do is we help people connect to God. And so we want to help you connect daily. How do you do that? Well, silence is a really good way to do that. The psalmist said in Psalms 46:10, "Be still and know that I am God." That's silence. That's silence. Blaise Pascal, the 17th century French mathematician, brilliant mind, brilliant transformation from atheist to astounding believer, said most of man's miseries are derived from not being able to sit in a quiet room alone. He's saying that when we get silent, we get serious. When we get silence, we become empowered to examine what kind of things are interfering with me and God. When I get silent, I can recognize that there's a God and it's not me. Silence is the fruit of prayer. Or the fruit of prayer. So when I get silent, I start praying, and prayer is this experience that brings me to faith. And so prayer is simply my vertical connection to God. And so if I want to have a strong connection daily, two things are needed. I must have time in prayer, and I must have engagement in the Scriptures. I must talk to Him, and I must listen to Him. And so one of the ways we listen to God is through the Word, so it generates within us when we're still, and we hear God, we're reading God's Word, we're still, and we're listening for God's voice. All of a sudden, what that does is it starts becoming my prayer. God, I want to speak to you. Then my prayer builds my faith, and then my faith, it builds my love. In fact, the Apostle Paul said in Galatians 5:6, the only thing that counts is faith expressing itself through love. Pretty sweet. As we engage love, we will engage service. Jesus said over and over in the Upper Room Discourse, that's John chapters 13 through 17, over and over again, I love you. If you love me, you'll obey what I command. And he started this whole discourse with the disciples in the upper room. He started that off with, remember, washing the disciples' feet, which then kind of moved into what we know now as communion, because they were celebrating the Passover. So when he washed the disciples' feet, when he got done, he said this in John 13. He said, "I've set you an example that you should do as I have done to you." In other words, wash one another's feet. And by that, it wasn't just, the literal foot washing thing, but the service of it. Jesus put on the servant's towel. He took the servant's role. And so he wants us to be radical servants. And that means, the fruit of silence is prayer. The fruit of prayer is faith. My faith is growing the more I engage in Him and in honest contemplation and meditation and requests and gratitude. The more that happens, the more my faith grows. And faith gives way to love. I love God more when I believe in Him more. And when my love is growing, service will be the result. And the result and the fruit of service is peace. Peace. I'm hoping today you will simply begin to try to create and carve out daily space to connect with God. I asked my guys in my small group what keeps them from doing that, and they said 3 things are needed. They need to make a decision to have a daily time. After you make a decision, you need to allocate some time. Allocate some time, some space every day to do it. And then once you've allocated some time and space, have a plan. Have a plan. I just gave you one. A simple little one from Mother Teresa. The fruit of silence is prayer. The fruit of prayer is faith. The fruit of faith is love. The fruit of love is service. The fruit of service is peace. I hope you find some today. I'll see you soon.